as a nation proudly stand, we will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let a flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. To the world we bid a welcome in 1,000 different ways. We will toast to long lost friendships as we build our better days. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. We are all the heroes of Scotland. We're a nation hand in hand. We will march beneath her banners to protect our ancient land. In the glens and cities, there on every street, are the living heroes no army will defeat. Let our flag mean freedom and not a battle drum. Good evening, folks. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. Weather wasn't great here, but it wasn't too bad. Good evening, Treble M. Edmund. DJ, good evening. Because I'm in a better position now than I was, I can advertise that I will be doing a Halloween show this year. So if you wish to, please write some material and we can feature it on the Halloween show. It could be a poem, it could be a funny poem, it could be serious, romantic. It could be a short story. Yeah, Toffee. That's the way it is. It's not that far away, um, I have to say. So if you've got material, what you do is send it in to me, and I'll feature it on the Halloween stream. Now, for people who haven't been here before at Halloween, I usually start a bit earlier than 9 o'clock. I got nothing. DJ's telling us he's 29 next month. My gosh, 29. Just a boy, just a youngster. Edmund's telling us, DJ, the best job I ever did was a night shift where I had only to work 12 hours. Oh, that's a long time. 12 hours. Good evening, Steve. Yeah, very young, 29. Imagine that. 29. 50 years younger. Half a century younger than me. That's a thought. That's a thought. I tell you, that is a thought. Right, I have an announcement. Well, I've got two announcements, but I'll make one. If you are in receipt of pension credit, that you should qualify for the winter fuel allowance, providing, of course, you're in the age group. However, you might know someone who is in the age group but isn't sure whether they will qualify or not. As I promised, I made inquiries last Thursday while I was at hospital because they have a person out there permanently. You don't get that. Well, I do, but believe it or not, I get £5 odd a week, just a little over £5. So double check, Trevor. They have this person out there to deal with stuff like this. She's not a nurse or anything. She deals with social security and benefits and such like. There's PVC. Just double check that, Trevor, just to make sure. Okay, doke. I was speaking to her today. In fact, I was giving her the information she needed to work out whether I qualified or not, which I do because I've got this pension credit, albeit a few pounds. Hello there. Hope you're doing all right there. How's the photography going? I hope it's going well. Well, it means I don't have to start hassling to get this cash. I'll automatically get it because I've got this pension credit, as little as it is. So keep trying, keep pestering them. Hey, you'll be missing your wee dog, Steve, eh? That's for sure. It's amazing how quickly you become attached to pets, isn't it? Full stamps paid up, full pension. No, that's a shame. It's because everything's mean tested now. Crap. I think Toffee's got it right there when he says that it's a family member. I didn't think I'd miss that wee bird. Nelson. God, sure did. It was amazing. Almost halfway through the photography class. Wow, that's quick. Enjoying it. That's good. I'm pleased to hear that. Been out doing some experiments tonight. Well, the next time you're down this way, don't forget your camera equipment, because I've got a few photographs I'd like you to take for me. That's only too true. So yeah, give some thought to the Halloween stream. I'll need to go on and speak to Sensor. He usually puts something in. I usually do something, to be honest. I usually do something. If any of you want to dress up for Halloween, please do, and then you can come on the live stream. That would be fun. I think that's pretty well certain, Steve. Probably probably the Darkwood yonder. Probably read a bit of that. That is a creepy story. Now, I hate to be a bit of an ag here, folks, but for party members, many of you still have not paid your annual subscription, and I'd really like you to get that done. I also would like in advance to invite DJ and BBC down for the annual memorial service to take some photographs. The party usually buys a wreath, poppy wreath. Last year we hired a piper, and the local press comes along and takes photographs, but George is not always great at giving me a copy. It would be really... Steve, no, you have not, my friend. I'm sorry to say. That's why I'm saying I don't like to drag people up. PBC, I will let you know when I have absolutely fixed the date. What I do is we lay ours at the one in the Greenock Cemetery where the civilians are buried. Was a special graveyard set aside for all those who died during the Blitz, civilians. That's the one. I took you there to begin with, so you could see it. I feel a bit awkward having to bring this up constantly, this subscription fee. And once I get my head a bit in order, I'll find out when the laying of the wreaths is being done locally by the town council, because ours is done far from the town memorial. So it would be a big help to me and the party if you and DJ would take part, take some photographs. I can ask you to take particular photographs that George might not have time to take because he goes on to other jobs, of course. Well, obviously, I mean, you've had so much on your plate, and I know about some of it, Steve. I mean, it's not as though the parties are going to go broke. We don't have enough money to go broke. So that would be a big help. But obviously I'll let you know before the time, and that would be really great. Because I would like to wear my cloak this time. I don't normally wear my cloak for these photographs, but I'd like one set of photographs wearing it. Uh, and George would take the photographs. Don't think he wouldn't. He would take them, but uh, he's usually in a hurry to go to his next job. Good evening, Toffee. Wolfie. Wolfie. The thing is, this might be a tricky thing. The Telegraph, when they come to take any photographs for any job that they're covering, they don't work on a Saturday. So these photographs that will be taken of the ceremony will not be on a Saturday. And I don't know how that fits in with DJ and his job or yourself. Uh, well, we'll try and get that sorted out. What else is there? So what he does is he goes to the town service. He takes these photographs there and then they come up to us. I like to keep our service separate from theirs because ours deals with the civilians who were killed in the Blitz. So, with that said, I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, well, I'm still going to press ahead, by the way, folks, with the propaganda booklet, The Land Fit for Children. Well, I think it is, Steve, and I think it's all worthwhile. Because these people did die, and they are victims of war. So that's all good. I think I'll read a little bit from this book for Halloween. This is a this is a poem inside the book. And inside the book we have these illustrations. Back close. It's a poem I wrote for it called Gleb Street is Gloaming. If you're Scottish, you may recognise the name Gleb Street. Duck, may I suggest that the title be a land fit for our children, as our is more likely to get people's attention by way of association. It might have spelt that last word incorrectly. A land fit. Actually, that's a very good idea, Duck. I never thought of that. Let me make a note. Let me make a note. Contributions are always welcome. Yeah, I definitely. Very good. Very good, Kate. Got it in one. Uh, yeah, I like that land fit for our children. Yep, I'll go with that. So I'm going to take it. I tried to get it done before, but I ran into printing problems. It was to do with formatting and what have you. I'm not going to go into it. Uh, but what I'll do is I'll take the document down to the printer and speak to them in person and see if we can get this done. It would just be so much better than the way it is. So thanks very much for that great suggestion. And Just Kate is quite correct when she says, "Is that where the Broodens live?" Yes, it is where the Broodens live. I wrote the foreword myself. I'll read it to you. It's only a page and a bit. It's only 2 pages if you want to hear it. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Small things like that can make such a huge difference, as you well know, Doc. I remember the same thing happened with one of my songs. Uh, Laura, I was recording it, and she happened to be here at the time, and I was recording the song. And there's a piece at the end, this line, it's actually the very last line. And Laura said, "Why don't you use that word?" And again, I think actually it's the same word. I think it's the word "our." So I tried it, and like your own suggestion here, I liked it very much. I changed it and I used it. It made such a difference to the song. So I say, I'll read it to you if you wish. It's not that long. Remember, it's the foreword. The question most asked by readers is, why did you write this story? This is really a question about artistic intention. What was the intended goal, or what was the author hoping to achieve by creating the story? Making money is not usually the intention, but is rather a byproduct that may or may not grow from the finished work. To engage the reader is always the basic intention of any author. Without a reader, anything one writes and remains unread is simply an exercise of ego. Beyond that first intention is usually the wish to please oneself, to make a work that satisfies on some level the desire to create in the first place. My intention for this story was to write about fairies and the supernatural world, but fairies of a very particular kind, the Scottish kind. In Scottish mythology, fairies, woodland spirits sometimes called, are not always benevolent, but are far more often malevolent. Celtic mythologies abound with folk tales about evil fairies and malevolent spirits that were said to inhabit the wild Scottish landscape. These creatures existed in an age before industrialization, an age that is barely forgotten, a time when everyone accepted such creatures existed. The tooth fairy is a leftover from an almost forgotten era. The difference between ghosts, fairies, and spirits is less clear to the modern reader than it was to those who lived 100 and 150 years ago. The distinction between these two entities is better understood if one imagines a spirit that is an uprooted energy, formerly invisible, that is part of the natural world, intertwined with it rather than independent from it. A spirit, like a ghost, is an entity independent yet subject to the laws of natural magic from the natural world, that able to intercept upon those human or animal it encounters. The metaphysics of this supernatural world I find endlessly fascinating, and so when a close friend began to discuss this particular world, I was immediately drawn to the idea of writing a story which would feature Scottish fairies. What form this fiction might take, I had no idea. The story needed to be set in a remote natural community, whatever form it took. The spectral elements would need to inhabit the correct setting according to Celtic tradition if the tale were to be believable. In some ways, this story is a reaction to what I call the Tinkerbell mentality that is so prevalent today. This attitude of writers towards magic and how magic is supposed to work is quite contrary to traditional belief systems. It is clear to me that magic is used as a lazy dramatic device without any regard to the well-established rules that all forms of magic must adhere to if it is to be succeeded in its application. In my little story, I have applied the rules of magic as I understand them and have experienced them. Everything on this material plane is limited, and so too is magic. Like the universe, magic must always achieve balance. The laws of cause and effect must apply, and therefore I have applied these rules to this story without apology. In short, if something is asked for through the application of divination, then something must be given in return. The more that is asked for magic, the more must be given in return. So there's your warning, folks. You want something, you got to give something to get it. The more you ask for, the more you've got to give. The balance has to be there. So that's the intro. I'll try and make a better job of it when I come to read a bit of it. The breathlessness doesn't help any. I like that, Steve. Good to have the candlelight on standby. I'm going to try it in here as well. It's great when people send stuff, material in. They sent quite a lot in last year. Mainly poems, very, very short stories. Okay, doc, Toffee. Confirmation of somebody coming on. It's always good news. Doc, John, do you think that when asking for someone else, it is more likely to be given? It depends on who's doing the asking and what you're given for. If everything works in a balance, it will be given. But should always be very, very cautious and careful about the cost of anything you're asking for. think that's a very good point you're making there, Tremelin. It's getting worse with the attitude towards older people. They already delayed people to many years, by many years, should I say, by getting the pension. Now, taking the winter fuel allowance away as well. It's a very good point. That's one of the things I loved about the 70s, says Sheila. The power cuts and my dad scrambling under the cupboard, under the stairs for candles. It was magical as a kid, says Steve. I think when people add their own experience, I think that, for me, is one of the highlights. Mom would read us stories in the dark, says Steve. I bet that was memorable. Must be you still remember it. Brilliant. Brilliant. Sheila, I used to try and imagine what it was like in Victorian times. Steve, it was indeed. I was very lucky in the mum department. Nice way to put that, Steve. Magical as a child. Yeah, these things tended to be. They were they were entered into by good parents. And although most people in my generation didn't exactly have a lot of money, they always put on something, you know? Gangs of kid coming to the door and We used to say up here, uh, the word that was used was Galoshians. Do you want any Galoshians? Uh, and I've tried to track this word down, believe it or not, over my lifetime. And as far as I can tell, it's a very localized word, only existing in what they cobbled into Inverclyde, Port Glasgow, Greenock, Gourock, Inverkip. Edmund, I have done that. Birmingham would have been a great, would have been great in Victorian times, he says. You can tell if you go there. It's a place I've never been, actually, Edmund. I bought Asda Biggs trilogy on the Victorian era. Very interesting. Birmingham is pretty much lost now. Yeah, well, these new people that have come to our country. They have very different cultural references and history. It would not mean anything to them, the things it would mean to us. Sacrificed on the altar of diversity by people who have no real appreciation of what they have given over. Treble M, Steve, I had a very hard working mum. I often think about my mum when I'm doing household chores, moaning to myself, wondering how my mum ever coped with 4 children living in a damp flat. Yeah, and I'll bet too that if you could go back and peer in, so to speak, without rupturing the, the picture, you would see a quiet contentment and happiness there, despite the hard work, despite the damp. There you go. It is hard work having kids, but worth all the effort, says PBC. But this is the thing. I'm speaking to to all of you, not just the ladies. Another amazing lady, they just go on with their lot. This is the thing about this. This is why we should get upset about the lies that have been said. The lies, the stories, the fabrications that have been put together. Because as difficult a life as the women had, and they had a difficult life, tough, made them tough women. They were tough, but they weren't hard. Big difference. But the men were just as tough for the lives they lived. Both the men and the women who occupied these tenement flats, as they were up here, were tough. They had to be. That was the conditions. There was no choice. Treble M. I love coming home from school, looking up to the kitchen window. Oops. To the kitchen window, and in winter, seeing the light on, knowing my mum was there. That's something that I didn't experience. PVC, my great gran, is my heroine. She had 13 children, lost 5 in a year and a half. She lived to 91 and had a hard life. A brilliant woman. Wow. What a grand lady, eh? My great granny, or as I used to call her, my wee granny, she had as many children, lost as many, and used to speak about them. My wee grandma had a hard life as well. He worked in a ship repair yard, and because he was so small, just a short 5'2" or something, he got all the difficult climbing jobs, climbing in and out of pipes and all that sort of stuff, because he was small and could do it. But he was a bit of a waster, spending the money and the booze. I spent many a Friday night with my wee granny, looking out the window because her bathroom window, she had an inside bathroom. The toilet looked out onto the main street, so she was hanging out this window waiting on him coming home with the wages, because he'd come from his work and straight into the pub. And she would be patiently waiting on him so she could following day get to the shops and get some groceries. No doubt pay off what she owed. I was determined to give my kids that, says PBC. My mum was out all the time and I missed that. Well, my mum was out as well, to be honest. And when my father died, she had the choice. She could have went back and lived with my great granny, my wee granny. And as much as she would have loved to do that, she chose to keep her own place. And that meant she took a full-time job working in a laundry. And so our personal history went in a particular direction because of all of that, of course. Toffee, I bet he's got something to say about his mum. My mother is my absolute hero. She's about 5 foot tall. I can just see that. But the most formidable person on earth. Proper Glaswegian queen. I've heard you say that before, Toffee. Yes, it made such a difference to us, says Margaret, coming home and Mum always being there. I dare say my life would have been that way too had my father not died when he did. But that's the way it goes sometimes. This was a disease that had no cure in those times. BBC, it's a duck. That's the ones who made it. She must have been constantly pregnant. Her man was a bit of a horror to her, but they stayed together till he died at 83. But that's what they did then, isn't it? They stayed together, regardless. Steve, I think you're right. And put a name in the chat for all our glorious and brave mothers. You're going to have me tears next. That would be super. I tried to do it with my own mother, to be honest. I tell you, if my mother had come on a stream, the stream would have been shut down in 5 minutes. Yeah, give us a name for the glorious mothers. How we miss them. Good for you, Margaret. That never happened in this household either, the way things worked. Broke Helen's heart. Tight Scotsman. Yeah, I broke her heart. I couldn't get a job. As much as I was qualified, I couldn't get a job. Terrible. No national health for most of her life. I've asked her, and she said, who likes the sound of his own voice. That's certainly true. No doubt about that. That's certainly true. Good evening, Linda. Nice to see you here again, as always. Oh, glory. I'm sorry to hear that, Sheila. My mummy died when I was 2.5. I don't remember her at all. No, not likely to, not at that age. But I miss her so terribly much. Here's my M for her. That's tragic. Have a lady stream. Sad to say I can't have my mother on now. And what makes me angry, of course, is all those lying women from the middle class who said that working class women were held down by these vicious, brutish men, which is rarely ever true, of course. Well, this is the thing, Doc. My great granddad was the same. My granddad was fond of the drink and buying for others, says Doc. Now that was true of my great grandfather, but my grandfather was a different kettle of fish because he worked all of his life as a pub manager. He ran a pub, didn't own it, unfortunately, but he ran it. So he didn't drink. Him, my granddad and my granny, at the new year, he would take a small glass of whiskey and she would take a small glass of port, and that was it. That's what they drank. And that would be it for the rest of the year. They always had a bottle of whiskey in, of course. The usual Scottish idea, just in case somebody comes into the house, you know. Edmund, my uncle died aged 2.5, jeez, from pneumonia. My father remembered his mother crying about it whilst walking in the countryside. My father died of pneumonia, age 88. You see that in the cemetery stones, though. If you're if you're lucky enough to visit, like Trevelyamis, you can visit one of these really old cemeteries, and that's what you see. I'm the same. Greenock Cemetery is one of the biggest and really old. So you see all these deaths on the stones, and most really are children. Dreadful. Yeah, you were on mine, Toffee. You were on here. Okay. Let's put on a piece of music. This is a piece of music I play from time to time. I really, really love this piece of music. So I hope you all do too.
All those who died for liberty have heard the eagle scream. All those who died for liberty have died but for a dream. Oh, rise, 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 white horse on the wind, for in no race upon the earth more broken hearts you find. The flames leaped high, reached to the sky, and seared a race's soul. In the ashes of our broken dreams, we've lost sight of our goal. Oh, rise, 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 red horse on the wind, and help our hearts seek forward, clean our soul again to find. Impostors now wear dead men's shoes. I rattle dead men's bones.
Not yet, streaky.
Here the dust has settled on their tombs. They've sold the very stones. Oh, rise, 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 dark horse on the wind, for in no peoples on the earth more prostitutes you'll find. In hatred for our motherland, their severed pieces sown, and their sons a dance to foreign tune. They they harm and kill their own. Oh, rise, 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 pale horse on the wind, for the veiled Judas reigns as king in our nation of the blind.
I bribed you with a coffee if you want to open up a StreamYard so I can tell you about my political shenanigans tonight. If not, I don't care. I got a few desperados. I think that's a very stirring piece of music. Sheila. Thank you, John. I still call her mummy, as I didn't want, as I didn't get old enough to call her mum. She died while we were on a holiday at the seaside. That's why I was so close to my lovely dad, who brought us up, who brought us all up. These are all deep wounds, folks. Deep, deep wounds. There you go. Get my ears on. Hi, Robert. How are you? I hope you're doing well, my friend. Just about to speak to Streaky here. Ah, can we have a sound check, my friend?
Hi, John. Can you hear me?
Yeah, just a touch, a little bit louder.
Okay, mate. I'll move closer to the laptop. I ain't got a microphone. It's lovely to see you, by the way, John.
Pleased to see you. How you doing? All right?
Yeah. Give me what? Just give me a sec, and I'm trying to. Right. I'm trying to knock you off on YouTube and like going to in the studio as well, right? Here I am. Yeah, yeah, it's really good to see you, John, mate. And John, you would have wiped the floor with these people I met tonight, man. It was just
Yeah?
like, yeah, fucking politically unaware, John. You know, um, this right. I'm not sure if you know the New Culture Forum. It's on YouTube. It's headed by like a guy like Peter Whittle. He goes up Sadiq Khan quite a lot. He goes up against him. He used to be some London fucking thing, MP or whatever. And but they do quite a. It's very civnat, yeah.
Yeah,
But
uh-huh.
what I do is like they advertise like a locals to meet up. So I thought, well, it's local to me. I'll go along with it, innit? Just to check it out. So I
Sure.
finished work like half 5. And I got back home, had a scrub and everything, and went back into town to where it was held. And there was like about, I don't know, maybe 18, 20 people there. And like some guy organized it, organizing everything. And like, I, well, I sat down, right? And next this fucking guy, right? And he's like, he's telling me uh about Russia and like how much how much how much bastards they are, right? I thought, oh my god, I thought I'm in the wrong conversation here, right? And and he happens
Sounds
to
like it.
be like middle class, and the guy's about I don't know 60, but like fucking hell. I mean, I'm like in my 50s, but you'd think I'd look like a fucking teenager compared to this fucking fat rich fuck. Anyway, right? He's 10 and he's hit. sorry, sorry. Yeah. And what happened? I ain't had a drink since I left Woody's fucking field. Well, nobody was there when I had a drink in Woody's field. Since I've been away, like 10 days ago, whatever. I am
Uh-huh.
bothered having a drink. I thought, get my head down, get loads of work in and that. And
Sure.
because I foolishly fucking went, replied to an email about this, I went to this political shit anyway tonight. So I walked into a thing. If you walk into a pub with like fucking loads of strangers, you gotta have a drink in it. So I had a drink
Yeah.
and there was this guy, man, he sort of trapped me in a fucking corner and he's telling me about like how shit Russia is, and he hasn't heard nothing. Fuck all. He didn't know about patriotic alternative, and I was just like, oh god. But the guy who organised it, right?
Uh-huh.
He
Yeah.
heard the patriotic alternative, and I said, yeah, well, I've been like to like a few of their meetings, quite a few, and he was like, yeah, yeah. And I was sat in the side kind of thing. Anyway, sorry, I'm not, I'm a little bit drunk and stuff like that. So I can understand if I'm hard work for anybody listening. But I had these fucking people, right? It's just like they don't fucking know. They don't understand how shit how a whole country is, and they're talking about culture and fashion and blah blah blah, and nobody's talking about immigration or nothing, or they rarely mention it. So anyway, I said to one of these guys, like, because oh yeah, and when I went outside for a cigarette, right, this fucking guy, I was sort of like trapped in the corner with talking this boring fucking twat, with this posh, he was a posh guy, right, complaining to me about his Indian fucking tenant in a house in Cambridge, which his mother had left him. And I'm like, so, the fuck do you think you're gonna empathize with me? Anyway, right. So it's like I went outside for a fag. There's fucking 10 Welsh scaffolders, and I know 10, at least 10, right? Who I work with. They're all
Yeah.
out on the piss because their fucking boys have been up there. Their boss, sorry, has been up there. And they walk past the pub and they see me outside, and I'm dressed in a fucking suit jacket and smart and everything. And they all like shouting across the road to me, yo, yo, a big, I can't say my name, Big Bacon, and all that. But the funny thing, they calls me like Big Bacon because I'm small, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But
Okay.
anyway, all this nonsense is going on. I got a working class fucking nonsense on the outside of the pub, and I goes fucking back inside, listen to this middle class fucking nonsense, right? Mate, he complain. I said to him, "Oh, listen, mate, I gotta, because you have to be like polite." So when I said like I'm gonna go outside for this fucking cigarette, I said no. I done the cigarette thing too many times. I just wanted to escape from this fucking guy, right? So I said I gotta stand up, mate. I've been sat on my ass fucking 10 hours today, like so that.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said, "I thought you told me you worked on a building site." I said, yeah, I'm a machine driver." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Just get away from the fucker, John." He's telling me about Putin, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, well, what do you think about?" They just so sorry, my words are like my fucking head is full of all the things I want to say, but now I'm live. I got to calm down and say it. But what it was basically a bunch of people, and who was there was probably about 18 to 20 people, and like mostly men and Sivnats. And it's from like the New Culture Forum, which is on YouTube by Peter Whittle, and also Ralph Mainku is on there, and they're a bit Sivnat, but they don't talk about Israel and stuff.
Oh,
But
of
what they're
course.
doing, they're trying to like get people, and they're opening these meetings all across the country for people to get together and listen. For me, and that's what I said to the guy at the end, like I said, it's great that you're getting people to get together and speak politically, but hopefully it will go the right way. And anyway, it came down to the guy that organized it right at the end before I was going to walk out. And I said, listen, mate, I said, the Americans, I said, you got the Democrats, you got the Republicans, and they both vying for the attentions of Israel. I said, unless you understand Israel runs the politics of the fucking world, you're not going to get anywhere. And do you know what? He said, I figured a bit hardcore kind of thing. He said, I think if you're going to be hardcore, fuck, John, I would have loved you to be there. I would have loved you to have fucking been sat there and said, da, 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 da. This is how we went in 45. This is how we fucking went. I would honestly, mate, I would love you to be there because, like, I don't know as much as you about the stuff like that. So I'm trying to fucking explain to this fucking guy who had me trapped there with his terrible tales of having to kick some fucking Indian girl out of the house. I was left with him in Cambridge while his mother had just died, and he was wah wah wah, and he was doing my fucking head in because he lives in a village which is posh as fuck, not far from me. Like I said, when I walked into the pub, I looked in and I could see it's about 15 people. I thought I'm going to turn around and fuck off now before I'll come here. But there was I seen a couple of birds that were talking, all these old birds, but they were like the Tommy Tards and everything, Tommy Robinson
Yeah.
and Siv Nats and that.
Sure.
And but so you can see there's definitely a will in the country to change something. And the good thing was, I got speaking to this guy, and he fucking knew all about millennial woes and he knew about Marcolette and everything, a patriotic alternative. Yeah, he knew all about this guy, and he was like that. He said, "Oh, I'm going to the Heritage Party conference." I don't know if you know him, John David Curtin, a big mixed race fella, Heritage Party, sort of London based. But I like the guy. I don't think I've heard nothing wrong with what he's got to say. So I'm going to his conference at the end of the month also. I met him a couple of years ago in the Oxford fucking 15-minute city protest. He's a really nice guy. So it's not far from me. So I'm going to go to this conference. So I met this guy anyway, and we were talking about PA, and I told him about Millennium Woes and this, and because he's in the Millennium Woes and all that shit he had with PA. So anyway, I got this guy, and I can fucking see as well. He wants to be stronger into the more national thing, and so yeah. So hopefully I made like yeah, but what does it matter? Even if I get one guy to like PA, it doesn't fucking matter. But the thing is just what and like I told this guy who organized the New Culture Forum at the end, I said if it gets people up off their fucking asses, away from the TV, and it gets 15, 20 people out in the pub now, and you're talking about politics, that's got to be on the right side of things. That's got to be a bonus. So I understand what they're doing. I just think it's well, I was gonna say it was like us 20 years ago, but we had fucking stronger views even then, I think. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry to bore everybody. And the thing is, because I ain't had a drink for 10 days, and I ain't had fuck all to eat since today. So like, the fucking drink has got to me a bit. But I just wanted to speak to you, and I really wanted to be here because it felt like I was being. It's like coming home. Yeah, it's with people
Yeah.
I know who've got sensible political opinions who can say how the fuck things are. I would love to us, all of us in this room, to be sat on one side of the pub now, speaking to these other people, and all these other people who were talking about this total Sivnat fucking trash. They would have been on with us straight away. Like, John,
That's not true.
I know, John, you must have been so frustrated over the years trying to get people so
Oh,
to
you have no
see the right.
idea. No idea. No idea.
Oh, I'm sorry for I'm sorry to catch your eye with a coffee bribe. I just wanted to try to speak to you, mate. I know you're not up for bribes. I know this, but like I just wanted to. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
you
Be amongst
wanted to
fucking
speak.
friends, like they don't realize they were talking about fucking culture and this and that, and they don't fucking understand. There's like race comes culture is from race. And
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, this guy who was organized it, he said to me, when I told him about Ukraine and Russia, because they were all fucking, not all, but a few people who I'd spoken to, once I got away from this fat prick I was cornering me, who I had to educate on about Ukraine. He knew fuck all. And this guy,
Yeah.
man, and he smelt as well. And he was rich, and he fucking stunk as well. He was wearing a shitty grey jumper, right? And he said, "Oh, my missus here, and she's dropped me off, and blah blah blah." And he's wearing this. John, you were smart as fuck. You always even turn up for the midweek stream, and you were outshone this guy with a shitty grey jumper, telling me like, "Oh, you got a house in Cambridge, and he's having fucking problems. Some fucking Indian, I won't leave." And I just, what the fuck are you doing? You're saying that. Anyway, so once I escaped them, I did speak to a couple of people, and they seemed okay. Like one of the lads he seemed all right.
So
I didn't get a chance to speak to the women. That's because they were basically ugly, and I didn't want to talk to them. I let somebody else talk. I let somebody else talk.
hang on. Hang on. DJ, are you connected to us?
Hello.
Ah, you are connected.
Not really sure what I walked into there, but can fire on, Steve. Yeah, you're on a roll. Like, don't let me stop you. How's it go?
It's going all right. It's Streaky. He's on a bit of a rant. That's what it is. He's somewhat bothered by the lack of knowledge from some of our, how can we call them, co-travelers.
Hmm.
And it's something I know you know about.
Yeah.
That gets you boiled up as well, does it not?
It does. I will say though, it's very pleasant to hear somebody else ranting instead of me. You know, it's usually fucking me. Pardon my French. Oh my! Amount of times I've lost my temper. It's unbelievable. But yeah, fire on, Streaky. Don't stop on my account, like. Mm.
It's good quiet.
Oh, he's
So
calming down.
what's new with you then, DJ?
Well, eh, nothing too much to be honest. Obviously, I think like the last time I was actually awake for one of your streams, I think I'd made the reference in your comments to. No. Sorry, I tell a lie. It was when we were doing the stream where you were on with Sensum. Sorry, and I said, "Oh, I'm starting a new job tomorrow.
Oh, that's
We'll
right.
see how
Yeah.
it goes." Well, oh my god, probably the worst job I've had ever.
Oh,
In all
really?
honesty, like just one honesty. I'm not going to get into like too much details, but more or less, it was the building that they're building. There's rakes of holes in the roof. The roof's not been done properly, so there's water coming in
Oh,
constantly. And living in
God.
the Highlands of Scotland, you know it rains all the time. So
It does a
basically,
bit, yeah.
every single day, I went to this job for the last month. It was water management here, quote unquote. There, so it's basically get some water pumps, scrape the water out, and then algae starts to generate on the walls and whatnot. Oh, you need to scrape the algae off, and whatnot. And I quit today. I've had enough. But you know, so it is what it is. I'll find something else. But I will say, just like sort of harkening back to Streaky's point there, just a few weeks ago, I was at I didn't like participate in it really. Like I was there with my missus at the protest that was going on in Glasgow. All the lefties giving it, big
Oh,
licks with
yeah.
their.
Yeah.
And I've never in my life been accosted before by like a sort of air quote lefty, but it was hilarious. I was just simply recording. I was walking around the perimeter with my phone. My missus was standing next to me, and we're walking alongside me, and this like brown guy came over to me with like a bandana on, and he was like, "Where are you from? Who are you filming for? What's your opinion on the riots?" Like mate, just calm down, like, you know what I mean? And he started taking photos of my face, and I was like, "Oh, this is ridiculous." But
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
oh dear, it never ends. But yeah, apart from that, nothing really out there. Just seen the link. I was like, oh, why not jump in for 10 minutes and say hello?
Sure, yeah, well, it's getting that near that time, my friend, as you will know. But we had to let Streaky let off some steam as he was rather bubbling at the seams.
Yeah.
And you know what that's like.
Oh, I far too well, unfortunately.
Oh, by the way, so while I have your attention, do you think you will be able to help out with the memorial thing?
Yeah, most likely, aye.
Right. Obviously, I'll let you know when I know.
That's not me echoing, is it?
No,
No, it's Streaky.
that's
Yeah,
Streaky.
most weekends. I mean, obviously through the week and whatnot, I'm obviously not free, but most weekends I'm down the road anyway. So it's really just a case of whatever weekend you're specifically speaking about, to be honest. But yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. Like,
Oh, fuck. John, was you talking to me? Sorry, mate. I'm having some really bad. Yeah, what's happening? I don't know if you can hear me correctly, right? But I ain't got a really good Wi-Fi reception, so I'm trying to pick you up on a TV, and then I'm trying to pick you up on my laptop, and like everything's a bit chaotic for me, right? But so I
Okay.
wasn't sure if you heard me, like,
I could hear you
yeah.
fine,
What
but
was the question?
I was talking to DJ, you see.
DJ's a fucking song lad, man. I like DJ. Do you know what?
What you
I'll tell
saying,
you
bud?
something about DJ. The amount of money, the amount of money, the amount of hours he puts in exposing them bastards in Bollywood. Yeah, fair play to him, mate. And more people should pick up on what DJ does, man. Well, the youngsters. I hope he can cuff a few kids around the head and wake people up, like, you know. Because, yeah, he top man for exposing everything, like, you know. But I sorry lads, I'm just gonna tinker with my laptop and shit like that so I can hear properly and I because like what happened, I'm not used to this shit, so I went from StreamYard into YouTube, so I was catching up on comments. So if anybody in the comments thinks I'm ignoring them, I'm not. I've just been trying to deal with it, like, you know. So yeah, what a fucking time to come on here. My first fucking drink in 10 days. I've been smoking this best weed in the world. It's called Sunday Driver. Sunday Driver. Yeah, yeah, in it. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. I think I said it at Toffee. There's this weed fucking going. I swear, I smoked it, and no wonder it's called Sunday Driver. Fuck me, I'd never smoke this in work. I wouldn't. Right? It's the best. It's anyway. So that's it. Obviously, I'm quite not myself this evening.
No,
Yeah, I got a head. I got a head full of political thoughts, but they're not coming to my mouth in like in good rhythm. Like, yeah, but this weed, yeah, fucking hell. I'm sorry. Like, and I know. Listen, I know the thing is on the right and nationalism and everything like that you can go into a purity spiral. But I think we have to face the facts in the country. Like I've smoked fucking weed since I was like anyway 30 odd years, right? And I'll never stop till I fucking die. But I think we got to face the fact that this is basically this is normality. But because it does for me it kills your any kind of what you want to go for in life, and I forget the words have gone out of my head. So it's not great, and I don't recommend it. But I'm not fucking here to talk about that anyway. What I'm here to talk about is the sad fucking state of Simnats. And I can see this meeting tonight in the pub with like about I don't know 18 fucking people, right? There was people, but I can see they were like middle class, like and not like I am. They weren't like I am, like you know.
uh-huh.
And I felt like, cause but you know, I dress good. I fucking dress good. You know, I was so embarrassing, man, because like all these lads I work with, 10 Welsh fucking scaffolders outside the pub. I'm having a fag. I'm dressed in the suit jacket, and they're all calling me fucking yo. Anyway, blah blah. Blah. But so I like to hold my own, I felt fucking proud as well because when I told this guy, this rich guy, about Russia wasn't the bastards, and he hadn't heard of fuck all, like what we had been into. I just said, mate, the best thing you can do start off is a 40-minute YouTube video, all wars, a banker's wars, and that will get you going, like you know. And I left it at that. But like you know, there's in our crowd, in our crew, there's a lot of clever people. We really
Oh
are.
yes.
If you look at it, you know, John, man, what you told me about the Second World War, John. I, I remember after he was first ill. Remember, John, maybe 18 months or 2 years now it must be, and you came back because you hadn't streamed for a while, mate, and
Yeah.
then you came back, John, and people the chat went into about the Second World War. Fucking hell, John, and what you said, man. And I remember you didn't have a happy face for you had guests on. I think Sensum and whatever. They all do their rounds. Sensum, Toffee, Rags. They all do their rounds. You just pick one of them lads in it. and what you said, you were fucking amazing, John. What you said about the Second World War, and I thought like I knew bits and all that, and you had a mean face all throughout it. You weren't in a fucking mood, like you weren't in the mood for you spoke straight, and it was John. It was fucking great to listen to you, honestly, mate. So yeah, so and I really like the people here in this stream, right? The most clever, conservative-minded people. We're on a grade. We're on a different grade for these fucking lefties, you know. So
that's for sure.
That's all I gotta say, John. And I'm just glad to be here. And I can see it's going on tonight anyway. It's getting near the time because like you gotta be in bed and shit. I gotta be in bed. I'll chip off, John. It's
Okay,
great
look.
to speak to you. And
Right.
hey, and listen, there's John. I got two women in the chat, right? And they call Linda Hunter and Just Kate. And the thing is, I'm going to report them to the police because they're harassing me sexually. Like, I think they're trying to romantically online abuse me or something. Like, you know what I mean? So I just got to say to them, ladies, let's just keep it calm. Like, let's all be friends, innit, John?
That's it. That's it.
I'll see you later. All right. Nice one to
Okay,
everybody.
my friend. You take care.
Ta-ra, mate.
Ta-ra. There we go. That was our Streaky. So, folks, I hope you've enjoyed the stream tonight, and thank you very much, William, for the movie, Rocky. Good choice. Good choice, my friend. Something I'm sure everyone has seen. So there should be plenty of input from the chat. That'll be all good. And I look forward to that one. And again, I remind you folks who are party members, would you please pay your subscription if you don't mind? I hate to keep bringing it up, folks. But there we go. So until Friday night, you take care of yourself, people. And I shall see you all then. And I want to thank you all of you, for being here. I'll be in touch, DJ and BBC, when I get the details sorted out. So, as I always like to say, adios, au revoir, cheerio, and until Friday evening, 9 o'clock, see you then. Enjoy the music, folks. Bye just now.
Silently the snow falls, paints a winter scene, swiftly spreads the dark rim, hides a fading autumn green. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, conjure friendships dear to me. Lightly now the breeze flows, disturbing more than just the leaves. But life's much more than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow. Patiently the love grows, lifts the weary heart. Gently now she holds me, melts two worlds once apart. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, usher dreams of you and me. softly then the breeze blows, disturbing more than just the trees.
All together now.
But love's much more than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow. Melodies of long ago, songs of innocence, harmonies to soothe the soul, have some consequence. Moonbeams brush the dark wood, awakening joys of you and me. Silently the snow falls, bringing winter symphony.
All together now.
But we're much more
So much
than we can know.
than we could ever possibly know.
We are one small glow
What an important glow.
in the eternal flow. But life's much more than we can know. We are one small glow in the eternal flow.
I like that, David.